David Brock is a Clinton surrogate who presides over multiple pro-Clinton super PACs. Now, this is an individual who has relentlessly slandered Bernie Sanders at every turn. He even went so far as to say that Bernie Sanders doesn't care about African-American voters because he doesn't have enough African-American people in one of his ads. Now, this is ridiculous. That's just one example, but David Brock has stooped to a new low. So, according to MSNBC, he has officially filed 3 ethics complaints against Bernie Sanders with the Federal Election Commission. So the first complaint contends that Sanders' campaign accepted more money from individual donors than what is allowed under federal law. So what this means is that everyone can only donate $2,700 to candidates and no more than that. If you go more than that, if you donate $2,701, then you break federal laws. So what David Brock is claiming is that Bernie Sanders has donors who have surpassed this limit. Now, the second complaint alleges that a campaign ad that the Sanders campaign ran on Facebook actually violated disclosure laws. So every single ad that you run, if you're a political candidate, must disclose who it's paid for by. So if you have an ad for Bernie Sanders, on the bottom or somewhere on the ad, you want to state this is paid for by Sanders 2016 or Hillary Victory Fund, whatever the case may be. And so Brock is alleging that Bernie Sanders ran an ad on Facebook and didn't disclose properly, thus violating federal laws. Now, getting to the final and most ironic complaint, David Brock alleges that a pro-Sanders super PAC has improperly used Sanders' name and also alleges illegal coordination. Now, the most hilarious part about this is that Sanders doesn't even have a super PAC. But I'm going to get to each of these and tell you why these are all ridiculous, frivolous claims. Now, here's the thing. When it comes to whether or not these claims have validity, well, David Brock thus far has not presented evidence that this is the case. But I'm going to be extra fair to David Brock here, and I'm actually going to play a hypothetical game. So let's just accept for a minute that all of these claims are true, that Sanders has taken more money than he should from contributors, that he violated federal disclosure laws, and that he has a super PAC that he is illegally coordinating with. Let's go ahead and suppose all of these are true. Even if that's the case, that all of these claims are true, guess what? Bernie Sanders is still not worse than Hillary Clinton. So when it comes to the possibility that people may be donating more than the $2,700 limit to Bernie Sanders, well, if this is the case and it's actually occurring, then it's probably not happening too often, seeing that his average contribution is $27. We all know it. We've all heard it. But here's the thing that makes this just ridiculous. Hillary Clinton takes much more than $2,700 all the time. In fact, millionaires and billionaires have donated millions at one time to her campaign. So why is it that Hillary Clinton gets to get away with this? Well, it's because she has a super PAC. This is why it's so ridiculous. If you are not transparent about it, if you have a super PAC and you anonymously funnel those campaign funds through it, well, then David Brock doesn't have a problem with that. But if, for whatever reason, you just accidentally go over the legal limit and you're transparent about it, we're going to have a problem, and David Brock is going to complain about you. It's only okay to go over the $2,700 limit if you do it in secrecy. So that way, you don't have to disclose who your donors are if you're a super PAC. So these individuals who are millionaires and billionaires, they'll donate to Hillary Clinton's super PACs, and they'll funnel that into ads and whatnot. And it's a donation larger than $2,700. But yet, Sanders is the one who is in the wrong here? Now, getting to the ad here, first and foremost, I want to state that David Brock needs to present this ad. I would like to see it, post it on social media, blast it everywhere. If Bernie Sanders really violated disclosure laws, wouldn't you screen cap that and save it? Put it forward. And furthermore, even if you can present this ad, you can't prove that it was run by the Bernie Sanders campaign unless they confirm it. And I don't think that Bernie Sanders would not abide by disclosure laws. It doesn't even make sense. They have nothing to hide with this. See, if you run an ad on Facebook, which is the website that this ad was run on, anyone can run an ad. You could literally run an ad for like $5 and get it played for a couple of days. So any schmuck could have run an ad for Bernie Sanders. So it doesn't necessarily mean that Bernie Sanders' campaign is guilty. If I wanted to take out a pro-Bernie Sanders ad, I could do it immediately. Come on. Now, when it comes to the last allegation, it's the most ridiculous one because Bernie Sanders does not have a super PAC, regardless of how much the Hillary Clinton campaign would like to pretend and like to assert that Bernie Sanders has a super PAC. That's complete bullshit. He does not have a super PAC. But again, Let's play the hypothetical game. Let's pretend that Bernie Sanders does not only have a super PAC, but that he's actually illegally coordinating with it. Guess who else is coordinating with their super PAC? David Brock and Hillary Clinton. Because do you think it's just a coincidence that David Brock and other pro-Hillary Clinton super PACs just so happen to use the exact campaign words and exact talking points that the Hillary Clinton campaign uses? I don't think so. And seeing that the FEC is currently deadlocked, and all these candidates, Republicans and Democrats alike with super PACs, know that there's not a damn thing that they can do about it if they do actually violate FEC rules, you honestly think that they don't have an incentive to coordinate? Of course Hillary Clinton is coordinating with David Brock. Of course it's the case. So, one, Bernie Sanders doesn't have a super PAC, and if he did, he certainly wouldn't be coordinating with it, but I don't think that you're in the position to be calling him out for this. Of all people. Not you, David Brock. This is embarrassing. Now, I want to get to Jeff Weaver's response. So he states, just one day after the Clinton campaign said we needed to change our tone, the leaders of their coordinated super PAC, which is funded by millions from Wall Street, filed baseless claims and frivolous complaints with the FEC. Tells you all you need to know. So all of these complaints were filed by the American Democracy Legal Fund. And MSNBC explains, Brock founded the ADLF in 2014 to essentially weaponize the political ethics process against opponents, but it's always been used against Republicans. This is the first time the ADLF has filed a complaint against a Democrat. The group's co-founder is Brad Woodhouse, who is also president of the super PAC Correct the Record, which coordinates directly with the Clinton campaign through a novel legal arrangement. And again, this is the mainstream media, MSNBC, stating, no, they directly coordinate with the Clinton campaign. And these guys have the gall to go and file ethics complaints against Bernie Sanders? Unbelievable. Now, we should actually be happy in a really weird, twisted way, because this attack is proof that the establishment is once again afraid of Bernie Sanders. See, you heard crickets from the Hillary Clinton campaign and David Brock's campaign when Bernie Sanders wasn't doing too well, particularly after March 15th when Hillary Clinton had a blowout and won 5 states in a row. Well, now all of a sudden that Bernie Sanders has won a bunch of landslides, big landslides above 70%, well, all of a sudden they have to turn around and reverse course. See, they can't just focus with tunnel vision on the general now and attack Trump. Now they have to turn around and start attacking Bernie Sanders again because they're scared and they want to make sure that Bernie Sanders doesn't get any more momentum than he already has. He's already breaking fundraising records each month, and furthermore, he's winning these landslides in diverse states. Now, the reason why they're trying so hard to hammer home this message that Bernie Sanders is unethical is because what's the number one complaint with Hillary Clinton? That she's untrustworthy, that she's unethical, that she's even corrupt. And in fact, how transparent this is apparent when you think about how David Brock just a couple weeks ago penned an open letter to Bernie Sanders saying that he needs to stop attacking Hillary Clinton and stop implying that she's untrustworthy or that she's corrupt or that somehow the campaign contributions that she took from Wall Street and big business would influence her, which they will. But don't do that, Bernie. Please don't imply that. Please don't imply that my perfect candidate is corrupt. See, Bernie Sanders isn't even fueling these claims of corruption and untrustworthiness. Democratic voters and Republican voters rightfully view Hillary Clinton as untrustworthy and corrupt because she does that to herself. She's untransparent. She won't release her Goldman Sachs speech transcripts. What did you tell them, Hillary? She's taken money from the fossil fuel industry and pro-fracking companies who screw us over. Come on, like this is absolutely as transparent as it gets. Now, David Brock doesn't give a damn about corruption, otherwise he wouldn't be supporting a candidate who refuses to release her transcripts or that reversed her position on universal health care after she took large sums of money from the health insurance industry. If he really cared about corruption, he wouldn't be supporting a candidate who's literally being criminally investigated by the FBI. I could go on all day here. See, this is what David Brock cares about. He's not worried about ethics or corruption. What he is worried about is his own ass. If Hillary Clinton wins, maybe he was promised a seat on her administration. Who knows? So this is by far the most disgusting thing that David Brock has done thus far. He stooped to the lowest of the low, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if Hillary Clinton is behind this, egging him on, because obviously they directly coordinate when they're not supposed to. But I mean, it's clear as day. And yet he has the audacity to go on here, file these ethics complaints, and say that Bernie Sanders is doing everything that Hillary Clinton is doing? Come on, man. Talk about the pot calling the kettle black. This is absolutely just laughable, and David Brock should be ashamed of himself.